Produced by Victoire. Victoire gives a special thanks to the EWF, Empire Wrestling Federation, and Mr. Jesse Hernandez, as well as SoCal Wrestling TV. Find the app on Roku. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Stylin'. I am one of your co-stars, the Master Emir, along with my co-star, tag team partner, as it were, ladies and gentlemen, WWE and AEW superstar Rico Casatino.
Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Stylin'. This is an exciting episode. I got one of my old friends here, and I am so excited to hear his story again and let you hear his story. It's amazing what road this man has traveled and what he has done for the business and what he has done for a lot of superstars in the WWE that are now currently champions and successful. We're going to give you the backstory here today.
Yes, indeed. We are going to give you the backstory. And ladies and gentlemen, you do see him there at the bottom of the screen. He is Flash Flanagan, the unsung hero of OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. He is our special guest this week. But before we get into the interview and we commence, Flash, one more thing. Rico, what would look good to you and I?
What would look good is you lay the smack down on that subscribe button and hit the like and share it with your friends. Yeah. That's what I'd like. That would look so good to me.
Yes, absolutely. Lay the smack down on that subscribe button. Hit the likes and share with your friends and family. We greatly appreciate. One more other announcement coming across your screen. Public speaking engagements announcement. The entire team here at the Masters of Wrestling, Rico Constantino, Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, McCallion, and myself, the Master Emir, we are available for public speaking engagements. If you're interested, please use the email address in the description of the video. Likewise, if you're interested in ordering one of our original t-shirts that you see at the bottom of your screen, use the email address in the description of the video. If you can't get your t-shirts now, they will be available at WrestleCon 2025 in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, where our entire team will be at the convention. But now the announcements are underway. Flash, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
A man with true style, right there. He's right here.
I don't know about that.
A man with true style and class, but a man with unquestionably a plethora of talent. Yes. From everything that you've done in your career, Flash. I'm going to allow you to tell a little bit of your backstory first, like what drew you to pro wrestling and how you found your way into the ranks of OVW. Let's start there, Flash.
Well, I grew up watching wrestling, and I idolized Roddy Piper, and I liked the Road Warriors, and then Macho Man came along, and then I was like, I knew I wanted to be a pro wrestler, and I went to my first show, and that was it. I was hooked. Boom.
Yeah. How old were you at that time, Flash?
Let's see. I was the first show I went to. I was it would have been. I was 10 years old.
Okay.
It was in April of '85.
Okay. So once you made up your mind, Flash, I mean, there was no alternative for you. You didn't think to yourself, okay. So you told your parents point blank, I'm going to be a wrestler.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's like. Through school, I mean, you go through school. It's when you're young. In grade school, it's cool. Middle school, high school, it's like, yeah, whatever. And then I would get picked on.
Yeah,
they crack jokes about it and all that. So I made sure, like my senior year, the ones that made fun of me, they didn't know I boxed, so I would set fights up with them. My buddy was my Don King, and I would tell him who I wanted to fight.
Yeah.
And he would go set fights up, and he said, my buddy was like, hey, you'll take him.
Yeah.
And man, this one kid, he was all over me, running his mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he wanted to do it that day. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I got to work, but I'll do it tomorrow. So all day long at school, he's just all these jokes. I'll light you up, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Next day, the same thing. Well, just wait. And I knocked him out in the first round. And I just remembered, I still remember this. I faked with the right and caught him with the left. And I watched his eyes roll up in his head and just felt like a tree.
Yeah.
And I'm looking down at him. I'm thinking, Yeah, light me up.
Timber.
Boom.
But then it got carried away. Like everyone wanted to fight me.
Yeah.
Like, God.
So that
Yeah.
was your early experience into the wrestling world. Essentially, you learned to fight, you know?
Because, well, I was protecting the business. Like sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm making a joke about it."
Yeah.
And then a buddy of mine told me the guy was training. He had a wrestling ring in the building down where I lived, and I kept driving by there, I never seen anything, but I seen the ring through the basement, in the window.
Mhm.
So I was like, "Man, I'm gonna break in here and steal the ring." But WrestleMania was in Indianapolis at that time.
Okay.
And then the following week, I went there, and there they were, and they were training, and that's how I got involved in it.
So that was 1992, because I remember Indianapolis would have been WrestleMania 8. So that's when you officially started training to become a wrestler.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, wow, that was so. How did you find it? So you went backstage, or how did you find you? Because back then it wasn't as easy to find a wrestling school. I mean, it's pretty difficult back in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I had talked to, I'd sent a thing. They had the thing of Hart Brothers Training Camp in the magazine, and I had sent that. Then I had contacted Red Bastine.
Oh yeah.
And he said he didn't train anyone anymore. And he told me about Bill Anderson, and I was going to go to San Bernardino.
Yeah, that's where I started, EWF.
And I was going to go out there. But then that's when I found out about the guy having the ring there. Because that's the Larry Sharp's Monster Factory.
Okay.
I thought about going there. But when you're just drive down the road a little ways and there's a ring, like, well, there I go. And that guy got me involved in it.
Yeah.
Then he took me to Chicago, and I got into Windy City Wrestling.
Uh-huh.
I was there for about maybe about a year.
Okay.
Were you a face or a heel? What'd you start out as, or just it?
I just happy to get work.
Right.
Whatever,
I mean, were you a face one time, was heel the next?
Either way.
Okay.
And Christopher Daniels was starting out up there.
Yeah, Chris Daniels was my first match in EWF. My first match, and he's the one that taught me in EWF.
He's good.
Along with Jesse. Oh, he was fantastic then. He talked me through the whole match.
He recently retired, I believe, from AEW, from active ring competition. He's now working as an agent for
He's
AEW.
an agent. Yeah, he was when I was there.
You never fully retire.
Yeah, you never do.
The only way you retire is you forget all the numbers and walk away from everybody.
Yep, that's very true. They always come back.
Someone will talk you back into getting in the ring.
Yep.
Yes. So, man, we had the same people. Flash. I mean, Bill Anderson, Chris Daniels. Wow.
See, because I never met Bill until that Vegas show we did.
Right.
And that's when I first met him. But when we talked, he remembered all the stuff. So
that was the Cisco, the convention.
Yeah.
You, me, Dinsmore, and Bull.
Yeah.
Oh, to let you in on it, Amir, Cornette got us. It was a convention. Mm-hmm. Cisco was the bad guys, and who were the faces?
You guys were the Nortel.
The Tortel Naturals against Cisco, and Flash tagged with Bull, and I was with Nick Dinsmore, and we went down there and we put on a match, and they were dressed as Cisco because they were computer companies.
Okay.
So it was Nortel was holding the conference and Cisco was their competition. And we put a 25-minute match, 30-minute match together?
Yeah. All I remember is that they had that they wanted somebody to get hit with the laptop.
Yep.
And they wanted someone to go through a table.
Yep.
And then they had those Beatle albums. I didn't want to break those. I wanted to keep them. They were the originals.
Yeah. Right. And Cornette brought out old tag team title belts. I was Smoky Mountain.
Smoky Mountain belts.
Smoky Mountain belts. And whoever won got the Smoky Mountain belts. But we put on a show for these people. They lost their minds. They were out of their seats. And
well, then we went to the convention part where we signed autographs.
Yep.
And people there knew who I was from USWA and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, that's pretty cool. But before you got there, Flash, because you were talking about 92. Now, not even, I think, 5 or 6 years after that, maybe 5 or 4 years, you were performing on WWE TV. You were there. You had a match with Brian Christopher. It was the light heavyweight championship tournament when they were trying to introduce that into WWF. So how did all that come about? Was OVW before that or after that?
Well,
How's that fit in?
whenever I was working at Windy City, I came down and I was working for Burt Prentice, and that's how I met Danny Davis.
Okay.
And Danny was like, if you want to come, I run shows every Sunday at my school. If you want to come down and we'll polish you up. I'm like, all right. So I'd be going down to Russell, Central City, Kentucky on Saturdays. And on the way back, I'd stop and do Danny's on Sunday. So with all that, then I ended up, because I got to know Ricky Morton and Tracy Smothers.
Mm-hmm.
They had told Cornette about me, and I got into Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Okay.
And I was there towards the tail end of it when they closed it up. Then after that, I went to USWA.
Mm-hmm.
And then when USWA closed up, Burt Prentice started Music City Wrestling. And I'm watching Raw one night, and I just cut my hair off and everything. And there's the lightweight brackets, and I see my name on there. I'm like, God dang it, they're still in my name. And then Cornette calls me up a couple days later and goes, hey, I got you booked for this lightweight tournament. Can you make it?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So that was my first experience in the WWF.
That is
WWE. But
that's so cool.
But when I look back on it, I wasn't ready.
Mm.
It's like, when you think you're ready and you're not really ready.
Yeah.
It was one of those, man, I'd only been in business a few years, and I mean, I haven't been that exposed to big time yet. And
yeah.
Like I said, I was afraid. I'd never been in the ring yet till I walked to the ring and got in it that night.
Wow. And what was it like just being in front of that crowd? Because that was a big crowd. It was Monday Night Raw at its peak.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I wish it would have lasted longer, but I mean, then they put me and Brian, or let's see, I wrestled Brian the first night, and then the next night, me and Taka wrestled Brian.
Taka
Michinoku, and then wrestled Brian and Aguila.
Oh yeah,
who was S.A. Rios, Papi Chulo. I think Papi Chulo was his own name, but that's where I met Victor Quiones, and he booked me in Mexico, but I was working for Dennis Carluzzo in Jersey.
Okay.
And the money I was making in Mexico for the week, I was making on the weekends going to Jersey.
Okay.
So I told Victor I couldn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I already got your plane ticket and all that ready. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I'm making more money. I'm making less if I go to Mexico.
Yeah.
And so then I was still working at Danny's, and then I left Danny's, and I went to work for Ian Rotten.
Rotten, I remember that name from when I got there. That wasn't a good name.
No, but Mike Samples is the one that talked me into leaving Danny's. And the very first show I did for Mike after we left Danny's, I knew I'd made a mistake. It's like, oh my God, there was like 8 people in the crowd. And then I was working for Ian, and I was doing double shots on Tuesday night in Louisville. I do the Garden, and I go over to work for Ian. And then Mike told me I had to make a decision. I'm like, you can't work for both of us. You got to pick one. I can't keep doing this with going back and forth. I'm like, well, Mike, I got to make a decision. I'm going to stick at Ian's because he's paying me 3 times what you're paying me. So I stayed at Ian's. Well, during that time, I went and talked to Danny, and Danny brought me back. And he goes, good thing you came when you did, or I wouldn't have brought you back at this time. And then he told me about a week later they had TV getting ready to do with Cornette.
Okay.
So I got back in with Danny, and then to show my loyalty, some people got they got hurt in the process. But I told them what was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they didn't believe it, and I attacked them.
Yeah.
But
when you say hurt, you mean physically hurt?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what he's talking about.
yeah, one of them went to the hospital.
Yeah.
But it was hardcore wrestling, so he got potatoed. I mean, we were in the crowd. I had to make it look good.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was an OVW. So this would have been after the light heavyweight tournament when you go back to OVW. So now we're approaching the time when Rico, you're going to be there.
Yeah. If I just need to ask Flash, how many years were you back before I came in July '99?
Oh, I wasn't gone very long at Danny's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't real long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll tell you how Cornette introduced me. Oh, I want you to come down. I come down, go from the plane right to Louisville Gardens, and I take on the Andretti brothers at the Louisville Gardens. And I only had 12 matches. And
That's
now my
crazy.
next match is Louisville Gardens with the Andretti brothers, which
Yeah.
I know nothing about.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Gosh.
So
Sorry, Rico.
no, go.
No, I was going to say, because now coming back to Rico, what were your first impressions of Rico? Because you, unlike many of your peers, already knew who he was. So what was it
Yeah,
like meeting?
it was cool. I remember him from American Gladiators. It was like, and Rico tells me the story, what he did to get on there, how he just like kind of half-assed it going through the training, and like watching everyone else bust their butt, and they didn't get picked. But then here he was going halfway through the motions, and getting picked for the show. Then he gets on the show and goes out there and just destroys them.
Yeah.
And it's like, this was cool.
Yeah. So
You had to play
American.
some kind of possum.
Yeah.
You couldn't give them all the goods at once.
Yeah. So you and he clicking, that would be an understatement. You just got along right away, or was how did that work?
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't like Rico, you got a problem.
That's very true. That's very true.
I mean, if you all you got to do is get by this part.
Yeah. Did I do that a lot, Flash?
Oh my God.
That's his excitement. So he can't contain it. He has to get it out somehow. So now I understand that. Yeah, he has to control himself even on here, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm trying not to rock now because I'm excited. Flash is here. We're just reliving old days, which was my fun days. The best time I had in OVW is with Danny's core guys, and everybody was so helpful to me. And like I said, nobody treated me with malice because I listened. I didn't come in saying I know it all. I came in saying I know crap. Yeah. I know nothing. Help me. I've got this thing and I need your help. So I took something from every one of those guys, and Flash was a major player in getting me polished enough to go up.
You had all the talent in you. It was just you didn't know when to do the stuff.
Right.
And it was like, okay, we'll change this around. And man, because I hate like the stylist gimmick. I think I may be the only one that hated Rico as a heel. Rico was the ultimate babyface.
Yeah.
He would have been the perfect person to send to places to be just go do your PR work or anything.
Yeah.
Because Rico was just such a good guy.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100% on that one. Yeah, he definitely has that to this day. He does so many good things, inspires so many people. Yeah, it was a complete contrast to who he played. But it seems like, you were put into a position of leadership in some ways because you were kind of mentoring this new young guy, helping polish guys. Did you see that was happening, that you were becoming like a teacher in a sense?
It basically just looked at it as going out there to the ring and having a good match.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who I was in the ring with. I went out there to tear the house down regardless.
Yeah.
So
you did.
I just wanted to go out there, and when they left the building, I wanted to say I spent my money well because I remember Flash's match. That was my thing. I wanted everyone to remember what I done, and I tried to build everyone up that was with me to have the best match of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but your relationship with Danny Davis and with Jim Cornette, that was good at the time. You had a good relationship with them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I don't know if Danny's mad at me or anything, but I mean, I got to think it's Danny. I like Danny. I appreciate everything he did for me.
Yeah.
Cornette.
Now, what did you think about the OVW system itself? Did you think that was an advancement, a good way to discover talent for the WWE, like to shuttle them to it? Because that would have been a fairly new thing, right? Before that, guys would have been picked from the independent circuits. There wasn't particularly a training camp,
a developmental
camp, right?
I think Danny was the first. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well, Dory Funk had that.
The dojo.
Yeah.
In fact, I was part of Dory Funk's last dojo when I went to try out in Connecticut.
That's right.
It was Dr. Tom, Dory, his wife, and Cornette, and that
Mm-hmm.
was the last dojo
Mm-hmm.
of Dory.
Mm-hmm. So his wife was involved. Sorry,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
little
Yeah. Oh
tangent.
yeah. Wife was right there, right next to Dory the whole time.
Okay, little tangent here because I have been in contact with Dory Funk and his wife. So maybe we'll get them on the show. Maybe we'll bring you back for that one, Flash. I'll try and do that. There's a little plug there for our audience coming up in the
Hey,
future. So,
I've never met Dory Funk. I would love to talk to him.
yeah,
Oh, it was,
I've talked with Terry. Terry was great.
yeah.
But if you ask what I think about the developmental there at OVW, then all you basically got to do is look at the top guys
hmm
from 2000 back then. You got Brock, you got Randy, you got Cena. There was
Batista,
Batista.
Batista.
There was Rico, Basham, Eugene, Conway,
yeah,
Yeah.
and okay, those are the core of your OVW guys. I mean, from there. So now, go all through these years. Who really is that guy? I mean, you got Roman, but he's basically been pushed down your throat in a way.
Mhm.
He wouldn't, and it took a while for him to get over.
Mhm.
In fact,
Nothing.
Flash, we said this a couple weeks ago. Where are the guys helping these main guys carry the roster? Where are, like in the 80s, every character carried their own weight
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but we didn't, after the Ruthless Aggression era, with OVW's guys, and maybe some of Power Pro and HWA, maybe, but where is your long list of guys? You got one guy,
hmm
and
Yeah.
it's carrying the whole roster, just like Cody Rhodes did. That's kind of unfair to put on somebody. At least with when we were OVW, we sent up Brock, like you said, you just mentioned all the names. We
hmm
sent all those guys up,
Yeah.
and we each fit in our spot. Brock, Batista, Cena, Bashams, then me. We all fit in our line, and we filled the card. People came to see all of us.
You know what, Rico, you just said there, and Flash, you filled the card. That's the distinct difference. And we spoke about this again on another show that I was doing last week. There's never been an entire group since then that has
Right.
all gone up, that has been memorable. Let's just put it that way. Because there are guys that are there today. I'm questionable if anyone will remember them in 20 years from now. I doubt it. All right. So, but those guys, like you said, you listed those guys right now, Flash, all memorable guys. Some of them still performing to this day. All
And
right.
and I'm going to say the reason why they're memorable is because of Danny's core guys. And Flash was part of that group, and I've named him umpteen times.
Mhm.
It's because of Danny, the way he had his wrestling philosophy. He passed it on to all those guys who were told to train us,
Mhm.
and we listened. The people who listened got called up.
Mhm.
People who didn't listen, there were a few people that were cut
Yeah.
because they didn't listen.
Now you're getting me fired up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fire, go.
Okay.
They always talk about the core four. It's always the Bashams, Conway, and Dinsmore.
Okay.
Doug was the first one. Doug Basham was the first guy. I was there next. But nothing's ever said about me being there.
Except I always mention you.
That for Rico
Always.
Yeah.
I always mention Flash
Yeah.
because, and that's why I called you the unsung hero of OVW.
Well,
Mhm.
thank you, Rico. I'm glad someone appreciates stuff like that.
Are you kidding? We had matches that tore the house down, even
Mhm.
at the bars, the Halloween havocs and Christmas chaoses. We ripped the house down. We gave them everything we had, and they appreciated it. And I'm going to say it now again. I already told you, you deserved a shot, at least 90 days up there. And it's been my only disappointment in my career there that they did not give you the shot you deserved. And because you were instrumental in developing me to push me up to that next level. God honest truth, Flash. If I didn't have you and the other guys, I probably wouldn't have been ready. Like you said, you weren't ready that one time when you were. I wouldn't have been ready if you guys did not invest your time into me to polish me. Because what was it, a year and a half later, I got called.
Well, and then the one thing I never realized was how cutthroat the business was.
Yeah.
When someone is like, when you go there, everyone's walking on eggshells and like, oh man, who's this guy? He's coming in. He's gonna take my spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then people want to start talking, and then I don't know, but there's been rumors of me getting my throat sliced and stabbed in the back. You know, shake. There was always the Memphis handshake: shake your hand with one, stab you in the back with the other one.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I did. I know one thing: I never had to stab anyone in the back for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I got work a lot of places. After I left OVW, I went to TNA, and I quit there, and I went to Puerto Rico, and I had a good career down there.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, one thing I did want to ask though, did you have a hand in character development at all with some of these guys coming into OVW?
No.
Okay. No character development. Okay.
That was corny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Corny did all that.
He pretty much, you kind of take who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I knew I wasn't the biggest guy. So my whole thing was I knew what I had to bump around and take the bumps for other people, make them look like something to help me out. They say, oh man, Flash, you see that bump, whatever. So I was taking stupid bumps to help the other guys out and to get myself noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I needed to put size on. I mean, whenever you're standing there next to Brock or Batista and you're 205 pounds and here they are 300 pounds, looking like a brick house.
Yeah.
Like, well, but there's always that guy that can get in the ring with them and make them look good.
Yeah. So you had a hand in doing that. Before we go on to TNA, you mentioned a name there, and we were going to tell our audience a little bit of a story because Randy Orton. Now we know Randy's been around for Randy's been around for what, guys? It's hard to believe that he's been doing this now for 23 years.
Well, at least that.
Yeah.
On TV, 23
Yeah.
years. I always thought, me personally, when he first came in, him being paired with Evolution gave him the kickstart that he needed, being along with Triple H and Ric Flair and Batista. Nonetheless, so when you guys met him, though, way back when he was basically a child, okay, what were your
Well,
first?
to me, he was. I was 39 years old.
Yeah.
He was 20, maybe 21, if that.
Well, there's like almost a 10-year gap between almost a 10-year gap between me and Randy, and then there's almost like a 10-year gap between me and Rico.
Okay.
So I'm in the middle of this.
What were your first impressions of a young Randy, though?
I liked him. I mean, but I was a big fan of Bob Orton because he was with Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool, and so it's one of those. Okay, Randy's gonna get a break because he's Bob's son. So like I was all for helping him out.
Yeah.
And I still talk to Randy to this day.
Yeah.
Randy is, I can't say anything bad about him.
Yeah.
Randy is just, and you watch him in the ring, he is so smooth. And I remember watch people on the internet are knocking. Mm-hmm. So we took Randy on some shows down to work for Bert. And I remember because me and Jason Lee, we collect Star Wars stuff. Mm-hmm. We're Star Wars collectors. If you can look in the background, you see.
I was going to say,
I can't tell. I can't tell. I'm blind.
I've got a massive Star Wars collection. It's incredible. But we stopped at Toys R Us, and Randy, there was the girl behind the scan. I bought a Luke Skywalker figure, and Randy, being Randy, he's like, "Who's the doll for?" He goes, "Mine." So he got a laugh out of that. But then Cornette asked me, he goes, "How's Randy doing? What do you think about it? Is he progressing?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so then he stuck him in there with me. Mm-hmm. Then I got Randy, and I thought we had some good stuff.
Yeah.
And then after me, Randy got Rico.
Yep.
So that's I didn't know. So Rico, you had a hand in also helping develop.
Well, I don't know if I developed a third generation wrestler who's got it in his genes. Yeah. Wrestling is in his DNA.
Yeah.
He could just he naturally flowed.
Okay.
He had a flow and a rhythm that I was trying to achieve. I
Mhm.
finally got to it, but he had it naturally.
Yeah.
Flash, do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, forget him now. I
Yeah.
I
mean,
know, well, now
he,
he's on an upper echelon.
well,
I'm just talking OVW.
yeah, well, I mean,
He just flowed.
he did more stuff then, and he didn't need to. Look at him now.
Yep.
People say, "Oh, he doesn't do a whole lot of stuff." He doesn't need to. What he
No.
does, everything is smooth, and Randy's probably the best worker up there.
And just like you said to me, as Nick said to me, as Rob said to me, you know, because they would ask me about a match. I go, okay, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, Rico, you don't have to get all your shit in this match,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
all of them, Flash, Rob, Nick, Trailer Park Trash, Damage, all said the same thing. They were like they were molds of teaching.
Yeah.
Don't have to get all your stuff in, but try this one
Mhm.
and let's do this one and then this one. But we'll save the others for another match in the future.
Yeah.
See, and it was like I said, it started to get in my brain that you don't have to do all that. Plus, you lose the audience. You start doing lucha libre in
Mhm.
regular
And if
wrestling.
the announcers can't sit there and call what you're doing,
Nope.
how are they going to put you over?
Mhm.
Right.
They're going bing, 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 bing.
Mhm.
They're talking, but they can't talk about what you've done because they've done this move, this move, this move, this move.
And that's something that is a strange phenomena that's happened in wrestling over at least the last 10 years, maybe 15 years, is we see that so often where you can't even keep up with what's going on. And it's
But
not.
yeah, but now with Netflix, them and Netflix, they've slowed it down. Flash,
Didn't
if
know
you've
that.
seen recent
I've seen some
Raws,
stuff, but here's the problem I have with everything.
Hmm.
Everyone dresses the same,
Yeah.
they all look the same, and they all do the same moves.
Mm-hmm.
AEW, I can't even. I haven't watched in so long. I can probably guarantee you that the next show they do, the very first match, they do some big spot, boom, boom, boom. They'll do a dive out to the floor. A bunch of guys will be there. They'll all catch them. They'll back in the ring, and every match is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
and they've got talented guys there.
yeah, I was there. They do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
But
one of the things Rika and I talk about a lot, Flash, is character development. I
Yeah.
mean, you cannot. Wrestling was built on larger than life characters. I don't know when we arrived at this point when it's okay for a guy to come out and just be, I don't know, whatever. Here comes Ben Smith. Well, who is Ben Smith, and what does he? Is he a cartoon? Is he a larger than life character? What is he? There's no more. What are they behind a lot of these guys anymore?
And you and I've talked about it, Amir.
Hmm.
Flash. I'm going to ask Flash because I ask all my guests.
Yeah.
Is Rico the stylist or Rico the Adrian Street homage anything like I am in real life?
no,
Right.
no. Other than Rico, I can't say that he's a little flamer. That's a joke. I love Rico and nothing against the homosexuals out there. But no, the stylist that is nothing what I would never would have guessed. Like Rico, no, you're the American Gladiator.
Right.
You're the guy who went boar hunting with a knife. You're Batman.
Yeah. See, and then this goes on with what Amir just said. It's character development, and it's people who embrace whatever character they're given and project it. See, and that's what I told Amir before we got on is whatever character Flash did, heel or face, you believed him because he believed what he was doing. You could tell in his promos, you could tell by his actions, walking in, even just walking out in the matches, stand there and looking at his two next opponents, just him standing there, just the energy that just came from his body. People would just like, oh my God. And they would just get caught up in the storyline. Flash just had to show up because he engulfed he became his character when it was time to become the character.
The whole thing was I was wanting the WWF contract and you had one, and I was saying, you give these green guys contracts and everything. What about me? And we built that story went on and on and on.
Mhm.
Then I worked with Jericho and they put me over. So
Yep.
then they announced I had a contract. Well,
Hmm.
the crowd, they hated hearing me every week talk about I should be in the WWE, blah blah blah. When they finally announced that I got a contract, I'm a heel, the crowd popped.
Yep.
Okay.
They were happy that there's like, yes. So, and I was hurt that I hurt myself in the match with Jericho. I tore my tricep. So I had to have surgery. So we did the bit where congratulations, you got a contract. And I'm like, yeah, I can't wait till this Monday on Raw, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, no, this is a developmental deal. I'm like, yeah, I'm your new star. You're going to develop me in there. He goes, no, I mean, you stay here. And I get all mad and I grabbed a hold of him. And then Bastion came out with a chair and cracked me. He's supposed to crack me in the arm, but he cracked me in the head and got me right in my ear.
Mm. Jeez.
But then
Yeah.
I was out for a while with surgery and then came back.
Now, when you came back, what was the discussion now? So did you see WWE on the horizon, or was it just
The first show I did back, I was in Evansville doing a house show with them. Me and BJ Payne worked with Orton and Mark Henry.
okay?
Woo!
That's a pretty big team to work
That's a
against.
big team.
Now, how was Orton at this point? Because now he's advanced, obviously. So was he
He's just he was still getting ready to go up.
okay?
Just
Still getting ready.
all right in between there.
Yeah. Now, when those guys were there, the big group, the Brock Lesnar and all that, were you guys all hanging out, or did you Flash? Did you have a certain group of guys you hung out with, or was it just broad? You guys all hang out together?
And it just you get to the shows. I mean, we would travel together at times,
Mhm.
and you had to. I mean, you had good guys and bad guys travel together.
Yeah. But did you have any special, like good friendships with any guys that you really bonded with other than Rico?
No Trash, Trailer Park Trash. There was Jason Lee. These are
Jason
guys
Lee.
that you don't
Whoa!
no one ever talks about.
What was the black guy's name that tagged with Jason Lee?
Derek King.
Yes, Derek. Oh my God, he was funny as hell.
He claims to just have retired. I don't believe it.
Derek King was. I loved wrestling Jason Lee and Derek King because he would just act over the top. You'd pick him up over your head, and he would hold you. Ah! He had bleach blonde hair
Yeah.
because they were the what was the blondes?
They were the Suicide Blondes.
Suicide Blondes, and Rip Rogers was their manager. And Derek Lee was a black and Jason Lee was white, and the Suicide Blondes. That
cool.
was comic relief right there.
Is this the
But
Jason?
they were good.
Yes, they were very good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Excellent. They worked well. And Rip Rogers is a legend himself.
Yeah.
They could go out there with anyone in a tag match and have a great match with them.
Yep.
Was that the Jason Lee? Correct me if I'm wrong, because wasn't there one who played the Undertaker, the fake Undertaker?
No. This you never
that was Brian Lee.
Brian Lee.
Brian Lee. Yeah.
Okay.
This Jason Lee would not be mistaken for the Undertaker.
Well, I hope they had a great career, from that point. It certainly sounds like, you guys had a lot of fun in OVW. But when you came, what was that point when you thought, okay, Flash, I need to move on here because I want to advance? Because you mentioned you went to TNA following OVW.
Kenny Boland's the one that called me and goes, "Hey, how are you taking the news?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, you didn't know?" He goes, "Oh." He goes, "I just found out you got fired."
Mm.
And I'm like, "Oh." And I'm like, "Man."
Of all the people to tell you, King Boland.
So then I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Man." And the next thing I know, John Laurinaitis is calling me and telling me that they're letting me go.
Mm.
He's like, "Oh, if there's anything we can do and help you out, just let us know." And I got a phone call from Wolfie D, and I was going to TNA after about a month and start our tag team back up because we used to team up as the Black Sheep, and then I was going in now as Cobain, and part of the Disciples of the New Church.
Okay. Yeah. So now that was a pretty big deal at the time. So how was your transition? How do you find TNA in contrast to OVW when you get there?
Oh, God. Unorganized.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did a show. I did 1 week and then did the next week. Then the next week I showed up and like, we don't have you on the card tonight. The next week I showed up. No, you're not on. And I think I might have showed up one more time. And I'm like, man, screw this.
Mhm.
I'm not driving to Nashville and not be booked.
Mhm.
So I ended up getting booked. Luke Williams called me. Then I went to Puerto Rico and worked for Victor Quiones.
Oh, okay.
Dutch Mantel was booking.
All right. Now, was that a success for you down there? Did you have a lot of good times down there?
Some of the best times of my life.
There you go. So, and was it, I mean, obviously, we're not going to talk exact numbers, but was it fairly lucrative enough for you? Do you think?
Yeah, it just pretty much basically I'm still doing the developmental deal. So
Mhm.
I'm paid and
Yeah.
I got a free place to stay. All I got to pay for is my food.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Rico, at this time, obviously, Flash and you developed a friendship in OVW, and you said many times here on the show and today, you're an advocate. You don't know why he was not called up to WWE. I know life was busy for you, Rico, but at the time, were you in contact with Flash when you
I've
got
been in
called up?
contact with Flash ever since I left.
Okay. So,
Flash and I talk every few
Well,
months and stuff like
hold
that.
on now,
Uh,
because we did lose contact, and then I got you, man.
that's because I was sick from
Yeah,
2016 to 2019.
okay. I remember you
I
being,
almost died.
yeah.
and I called you because when I found out about that, and you tell
Yeah.
me like, and you sounded horrible. Then the next time I hear you, it's like, man, everything's going great. I'm like, oh my god, he kicked out again.
I kicked out. 1, 2, kick
Boom.
out.
Kick out. Yeah.
But
Which,
the only thing, it was kind of depressing in Puerto. I had so much fun in Puerto Rico, but then it was kind of depressing because seeing all your friends get called up,
Mhm.
and then you're like, man, and no one's returned. Like, no one will call me back or anything. No one returns any phone calls, and it's just like, man, you're just stuck there. I mean, here you are on an island, and you don't speak Spanish, and you're like, all right, you're sitting there. Whoever they bring in, you're stuck there with, and
Mhm.
then everyone after everyone left, that would come. They'd bring in MVP left. He got called. He got a deal. Chet Jablonski got a deal. Casey James got a deal. Shoot, it seemed like if you went to Puerto Rico and you came back, you got a deal.
Mhm.
And then I came back and I had torn my meniscus in one knee, and I kept working trying to protect that knee. I tore the meniscus in the other knee.
Mhm.
So then I get a phone call. I got a tryout. So I got two bad knees. So I had to go get them shot up, which I just got done today because my knees are bad. And
Mhm.
so this tryout, we're sitting there, and like I'm listening to all these guys talk. I'm like, man, none of this. Who's going to remember this? Do you want like a wrestling promo or what? I'm not.
Mhm.
I'm sitting there. I'm totally lost, thinking, what in the world am I? What's happened? It's completely changed.
Mhm.
So I start cutting a wrestling promo, doing the Flashmania stuff, blah blah blah, and then the next night I said I did Raw, and then I did SmackDown. But I did Raw. They had me as a waiter
Mhm.
at a motel where John Cena came and attacked Bray Wyatt or Husky Harris, and shoot, I can't think of the other guys' names. But they had me do that, and then the next night we're at SmackDown, and Johnny Ace comes up to me in front of a bunch of people and starts going off on me about you wanted to try out. I give you this tryout. You're gonna do this Hulk Hogan bullcrap, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah. And he starts pointing these big guys out. All these guys he pointed out.
Mhm.
One guy one guy got up there, but he didn't last very long, and
Mhm.
the rest of them, no.
Mhm.
So
Well,
I'm
that
like,
was that was a different time though. When you're talking about Husky Harris, what was his name? Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt.
That was a later time. So what was that? When you at that time
well,
of
no, these are. I'm not even talking about him. These
okay.
are other guys that they had in their developmental
Oh, okay.
that they were wanting to bring up later.
Got it.
And I'm looking at them like, all right, you got 5 jacked up guys here,
Mhm.
but all big guys, all jacked up. None of them could work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
See, and that's the only, if I could say anything bad about Vince professionally, because he always wanted the jack guys.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who was jacked,
Mm-hmm.
it was the look,
Yeah.
But he missed the people who could work
Mhm.
and have the ability to put people over.
Yeah.
This is where he missed a lot. That's why WWE went down a lot, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
know, and go ahead, Flash.
you look at the roster now, look
Mhm.
at guys, there are so many guys that are there now that would have never been there 20 years ago.
No.
20 years ago, they would have been like, huh,
Yeah.
no, you're getting squashed. You're getting
Yeah.
squashed.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there has been like a pendulum swing, which is kind of ironing out right now. It's almost like you didn't have any of that back then, like you were saying, Flash. None of the smaller guys or the guys who didn't, look like they were taking 10 tons of steroids. But then it swung the other way, where all of a sudden it was flooded with a bunch of smaller guys that look more like lucha libre, and then that didn't work because it's not convincing that a guy who weighs 180 pounds can defeat someone like Batista at 300 pounds. It just
That's
doesn't.
kind of like the match with Rey Mysterio against the Big Show.
Yeah, it's just come on.
The one thing I hate, well, there's a bunch of things I hate.
Mm.
I hate the leg slap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need a leg slap. Has anyone ever been in a real fight or hit anyone or kicked anyone? It does not sound like no.
Right. Very true.
And then the chop. The chop used to be pretty good. Now everyone does a chop, and they all do the same thing. Someone will take a chop, then no one sells it.
No,
Nobody
they don't.
sells it.
No. That's a big thing too, right there. That you said about selling. I saw a match the other day, gentlemen. I forget what it was, but it was on Monday Night Raw, and someone did a big move. I'll have to look at it again, but I remember thinking, and then he just popped back up like nothing, and then finished off the other. I was like, "What the heck just happened?" That is not pro wrestling.
Now, there are a few guys I like
Yeah.
that are new. Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I could watch him.
Yeah.
And Braun Breaker, Steiner's
Oh
kid.
yeah, Steiner's kid.
Yeah.
The
Brock,
only thing that I can sit there and knock about him is when he starts up, before he goes to the ring, he starts doing the barking, but then he stops and doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
If he would sit there in the match, start doing the barking, hit the ropes, hit him with that when he's running the ropes like he does, and mows him down, jump back up, little things.
Yeah. See, it's just it's fine tuning now.
But no,
Yeah.
I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
I hope nothing but success for him.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about the selling thing, I want to go back a second. The selling thing. I remember I got, when they get in the corner and give you the 1, 2, up to 10. And I came out, it was on Raw. Lawler and JR were announcing. So I came out of the corner and I did exactly what you guys said. After taking 10 punches to the face, I came out of the corner, did something, and then I took the guy out after taking 10 punches to the face.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it because you can't hear the announcers when you're doing the match. When I re-watched that match the next week at the next taping, I heard JR's comment. And a light went off, and I went, don't ever do that again. Because not only do you look like an idiot, you made the other guy who gave you the 10 punches look like he's worth crap. His punches he throws girl punches.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned it.
Yeah.
The hard way, but I learned it at least. But, like you said, people don't sell. I mean, but now Triple H and Ric Flair's chops, you can't help but sell.
Oh yeah.
You can't help but sell them.
Yeah.
Because they hurt.
But you should sell them.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying.
Ric Flair is known for that.
I know.
But everyone does it now, and no one sells it, and so they don't mean much. Even then going back and forth, chopping each other back and forth, that don't mean anything now because you've already chopped the guy a million times and he's not sold it. So when you go back and forth, there's some fight back in you.
There was so much back then.
Yeah, I remember the agents during my career, no chops because Flair was coming out, no chops. And at least the agents were good there because the agents got together and they talked about each one of their matches on the card. somebody's working the arm. Well, that's it. Nobody
Mm.
else works the arm. At least in my era, they got together.
Mhm.
No going outside the ring. Do not use the stairs. We're going to do this later. Don't bump the ref. At least they were starting to communicate in the ruthless aggression era. So we
Mhm.
weren't repeating everything.
Yeah.
So along with that, it takes communication. So people don't see the same thing. Oh, you already saw it. Been there,
Mhm.
done it.
Yeah, and there's another thing that brings up, gentlemen, about sticking to your type. So if you're a guy, I don't mean to pick on him because I think he's a great talent. We've had him on the show in the past. Brian Cage, right? He's 265 pounds in AEW, but yeah, he's doing backflips and somersaults and hurricane ranas, and it does not mesh with a guy of that size. He's a power guy you know? So,
They stopped Brock from doing the
The shooting star.
shooting star.
yeah,
Yeah, because
He
I
didn't
mean, my
either.
God, that should be the finish right there. But somebody that big until he almost broke his neck.
right.
Then they
But
really stopped it.
but
Yeah.
remember how sweet it was? Brock could have the guy in the middle of the ring and go up in the corner and fly out there. It was awesome.
Well,
Mhm.
Brock was an awesome athlete. You can't take nothing from there. He was all athlete,
I,
and he proved it.
I heard that he may actually be on his way back now that the Vince McMahon scandals are apparently dropped. That's the last we heard. So now I saw Brock on an interview saying he doesn't need to. I mean, financially, he doesn't have to, but I think he's making a comeback. I think he's going to come back. I think probably the sponsors want him back.
Well, I wish the best for him. He was nothing but kind to me,
Yeah.
I always
and
liked Brock.
yeah, he never ever hurt me in a match. He
Mhm.
always took care of me in a match, and was always kind to me. He's got his rough edges, but hey, who doesn't?
Yeah,
You
that's true.
know.
Yeah.
But
I got a funny one about Brock.
All right.
okay,
I hadn't seen Brock in 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm in Chicago, and there's Brock. He doesn't see me. And I'm different now because I got my head shaved and everything else. So I'm sitting there, and Brock walks by. I'm like, bitch, turn around here. Look, I'll beat your ass. And he turns around like he's ready to fight. And then he sees me. Oh, but I'm glad he recognized me.
yeah, before the Brock lessness took over.
Well, I don't know. Were you there when Ron Waterman took me down?
No,
I was making fun of UFC fighters. I was just cracking jokes. And Ron, he hooked me. He snatched me out, and I wasn't even expecting. He hooked me, took me down, boom. He goes, now tap. Now I'm tapping. I'm tapping. He goes, now respect it. I
Ron
respect it.
Ron was legit. I mean, and he could have been signed. And my opinion is he was going to be until Steiner signed. And once Steiner signed, because he looked like Steiner, that was it for Ron.
Yeah, you
Do you
mentioned that.
agree, Flash?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ron was also a gentleman, a lot of class, very polite, very kind,
Mhm.
but he could break you in half if he wanted to.
It's a shame when you hear stories like that, compare and contrast nowadays there's so many other options out there that there just weren't in the early 2000s. I mean, you guys were at a different time, you had TNA was just starting up. WCW had shut down. You didn't have a wrestling school and an independent promotion on every corner. I can imagine, like, now if a situation like this were to happen, the guys have far more options available to them to continue.
Well, I don't know.
No?
I think it's about the same.
Really?
There was always work back then.
Okay.
I mean, just some of the companies are different. But I mean, man, that's what I hate because you go to the shows. Some of the shows you go to
Mhm.
are so god awful. It's like they just want to go out there and do their moves,
Mhm.
and then, oh god, so I'm not going to knock anybody.
No.
Don't knock, but just
No.
just tell us how you feel.
Mhm.
It's just an abortion.
Mhm.
Let's go out and said, because everything, when I sit there and say stuff, people are going to look, oh, then you want to do that cancel culture crap. And they're going, because I hate seeing the women wrestle the men.
Mhm.
That is so stupid.
Mhm.
I mean, you go out there, let me punch her in the face. I remember some girls in the ring with me, and she's hit me and I cut her off. And I got her in the corner, I was like choking her or something. And she's like, I got a spot I got to do. I'm like, well, rake my eyes or something, because you're not beating me up.
Mhm.
But some girls, oh man.
I mean, like I said, Flash, you're entitled to your opinion. You're a human
Yeah,
being.
say it.
But
You know.
and the women are very talented.
Mhm.
The women today are so talented, but I don't want to see them against men.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah,
you're going to do that, I mean, I don't know. I'm out. I guess I'm out of date at the time because
no, because you're old school. You're old
Oh,
school. And you know who started that? I think Vince started that when he had China go over on Jarrett.
yep.
well,
Yep.
Sherry Martel was tough,
Mhm.
and Sherry was super cool. And I'm not going to sit there. I wouldn't ever, because I heard the story about someone making a comment that no one's going to believe a woman's going to beat up a man, and Sherry went after him, and he jumped in the bathroom stall. And she was going for him. So I'm not going to bring that up. And Luna Vachon was tough.
Yeah. And those are tough women.
And Jacqueline,
Jack, yeah.
she was, man, I was in the locker room with her and Luna getting in a fight.
Mhm.
And Road Dogg was stirring it up, getting them to go at it. He was just stirring the pot. But yeah, Jackie and Luna, when you talk to Luna, she was so nice. She had such the sweetest voice. But then when she turned into Luna, like, I'm gonna rip her head off. I'm gonna kill you. And then she goes, oh man, I'm very sorry. How you guys doing? I'm like, oh.
She was very convincing because I really believed as a kid. I mean, she was terrifying.
Yeah.
And
She was great.
She scared me as a kid.
So, what is
She
amazing.
scared me as an adult.
So, but she, God rest her soul. She passed
Yeah.
away. Wasn't she Gangrel's wife or
Yeah.
something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He was another guy who, was good when he came up. I think they could have done a lot more with him too, in the
Good
Brood.
guy.
Yeah. Yeah. He's still
And
wrestling.
then he came out and they burned him.
Who burned who?
They burned Gangrel on his entrance.
Oh, yes, he did because he used to come through the flames, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the flames weren't set right and they burned him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he had
He got burnt.
he had the coolest entrance.
Yeah, he did.
The
When he was
coolest
with the
entrance, and I think
Brood.
the coolest music.
Great music too. Yeah, they were really
Yeah.
the
Him,
Brood.
Kristen Edge.
They
the
came back.
Brood.
They came back in AEW. Gangrel did a spot in AEW a few months ago in a steel cage match.
Wow.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
came
remember
back.
all of a sudden the lights went out and the people were drenched in what was supposed to be blood?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
bloodbath.
yeah. It was again great idea, great character. But Flash. So since your time out of TNA and all that, out of Puerto Rico, did you go on to become a coach? Did you go and train guys thereafter? Have you
No,
done that?
I went to I was wrestling down in Dyersburg and all that for Derek King. They were running shows down that area. And then I got Ricky Morton and Buck Robley. Buck Robley, he knew Larry Matisick in St. Louis area.
Mhm.
And Buck had told him about me. And Ricky told Buck about me. So from here to here. And then just like I said, Ricky got me into Smoky Mountain, and then him telling Buck I was a good worker, he told Larry. So I went to St. Louis and I was working for Larry Matisick and Herb Simmons for Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling.
Mhm.
And I was there for a while. And shoot, I don't know how long I was there. I haven't done anything about the last year.
Okay.
I need to heal from injuries.
Yeah.
So I never took a time off. If I was hurt, I'd just wrap it up and go.
So you have been actively performing, And this has been your main, it's again, I don't want to pry too much, but has that been your main source of income for the past 20 years, or do you do other work now?
For pretty much almost like the last 22 years.
22 years has been your main
But
source.
I've been doing it for 20, let's see, 92, 23 years. So I'm not
Yeah.
done yet. I'm
Yeah.
just broken down.
Yeah. Well, no, that's amazing that you've been able to, again, you've been able to work consistently, support yourself. I mean, that right there is a success story, Rico. Would you not agree? Doing what he loves to
I
do.
agree. Flash is amazing. He was amazing then. He's still working now. And he gave unselfishly his knowledge to everybody who was, as I was, and to his is now a
Mhm.
superstar.
Yeah.
Everybody who came through OVW has part of Flash in them
Yeah.
because he gave unselfishly.
But now we're going into the new phase of the world. Now I got to try my bit at acting.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
I got
who
to plug
knows? Go. You got to reach out, Flash.
All right.
And my motto, why I've done all the things I've done in my life. Here it is. You ready?
I'm ready.
What the mind can conceive, the heart can achieve.
Mhm.
If you put it in your mind, you're going to do this acting, put it in your heart, and your heart can achieve it.
But lately, that mind is like throwing a BB in there and it's bouncing around.
Yeah, but all you need is this much, buddy.
Yeah. Just
This
that.
much.
Yeah.
Well,
This much.
can I plug the movie and all that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
The first movie was called Desert Fiends. That is available, and I think now it's available as of today on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be in Desert Fiends 2, the sequel, and it's got Eric Roberts, Kato Kalin, Robert Carradine, Vanessa Angel. She was in Kingpin.
Mhm.
And then it's produced by Nicole Butler Vegas and John Swango, and the director is Sean C. Phillips. And if anyone's interested in getting a part in the movie, you can go to Indiegogo campaign Desert Fiends 2, and there's a way to get involved in the movie if you want to.
That's pretty neat.
So, and the filming starts April 5th to the 18th.
And where is that going to be again?
In Las Vegas area.
In Las Vegas area. That's going to be a great opportunity. Of course, Eric Roberts, the brother of Julia Roberts, some big names that you mentioned off there, and
daughter Emma Roberts.
Yep, Emma Roberts too. Wow. So, and will this one be available again in the same location, or do you not know where it's going to be available when it's shot?
I don't know yet. I mean, okay. I just found out today that it just popped up on Amazon Prime.
Okay. All right.
Congratulations.
Sure so
congratulations, Flash. Who knows? Hey, Batista made it to movies. Rock made it to movies. Cena made it to movies. Yep. Maybe this is your way of getting there and getting an Oscar. Who knows? You could get an Oscar for something. Maybe not this movie, but you got to start at the bottom because I know I started lower than whale crap when I got into wrestling, and look what happened to me.
Hey, but wait a minute! Don't say you started lower than whale crap because you started with us.
No. I started with EWF. I progressed above whale crap when I got there.
AWF wasn't that long. You did 14 matches, and then you're there at OVW. Come on now.
Yeah, he had a meteoric rise, that's for sure. But again, I think like you said, Rico, we all have to start somewhere. And as I was saying to my guys the other day, the guys I work with, I'll give us a plug now. Delirium, Slade and McCallion, and myself, the master. We enjoy every moment that comes wherever we perform as we go along our journey. Let us enjoy it. Let us relish in that moment, because if we keep wishing for the next or the big one and wish, we end up wishing our lives away. And I don't want to be that guy. I want to be able to enjoy every moment. We mentioned EWF there, and I want to give a shout out to Mr. Jesse Hernandez, who's responsible for both, helping Rico get his start, helping me get my start. So, we wouldn't be anywhere without these companies first, first and foremost, like you said, Flash, the OVW you helped produce, you both helped produce,
mega superstars.
Mega superstars. the last big class of pro wrestlers to come to prominence. So I think, gentlemen, I'm looking at the time here. We have gone a little bit longer than usual. So what I'd like to do is conclude this episode and then maybe do another episode with you, Flash, where we can do a sort of a part two where we can go into some other topics.
Yeah,
Um,
do Style in the Podcast too with Flash Flanagan.
there you go.
Well, there's Slash Venom in Puerto Rico because I had to change my name.
Well, they.
Oh,
Wow. Okay, we didn't know that.
People don't know about the Slash Venom a lot because Puerto Rico, we were kind of in our own little world.
All right. Okay. Well, you know what? You know what? Then there you go, Flash. You just plugged that episode.
there you go.
We will go to Puerto Rico, and you will tell us the differences between American wrestling and wrestling out there.
It's
What
got to be
life-
different.
What life was like, what the promoters were like. Now, of course, Luke the Bushwhacker, Luke Williams, I consider him a friend of mine. I love the guy. I talked to him. He's going to be coming on our shows soon, actually. And so it'd be nice to hear how all that got put together as well. So we'll save that as the cliffhanger.
Well, tell him I said hi.
Oh, will do. I'll text him after we get off, and I'll say I just spoke with Flash Flanagan, and I'm sure he'll say something comical as he usually does.
Well, when I got down there, he goes, "You mind if we change your name? We're going to call you Slash Venom.
Flash Venom, yeah, with his Australian.
He was
New
thinking
Zealand.
about it. He was thinking about it as he was saying it.
Yeah, yeah. He is funny. Like honestly, he's
Oh
like,
God!
yeah. You see, we did this bit. I'll tell you off air. Actually, I'll tell you off air about what we said. But Rico, do you want to close us out this week?
Well, I'll close us out, but I'd like you to plug where I'm going to be on March 15th.
That's right. It's going to be
Where?
March 15th. Rico will be at a convention up in New York, right, Rico? It's the New York
That's right.
convention. It's at which arena again? I do forget.
The Suffolk.
Suffolk.
Suffolk. There we go. I can't even say it right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be there.
The Suffolk.
Suffolk Arena, Suffolk Credit Reunion Arena in
Yep.
Brentwood, New York. March 15th. It's the big event EXS.
Yep. The EXS event. So if you go online, I'll find a link to it if I can, and I'll put it in the description of the video. If you want to punch your ticket, if you want to go up there and meet superstars like the legendary Mr. Rico Constantino, you can do so by purchasing your ticket if you're in the New York area. And of course, if you can't make it up there, not but a month later in Las Vegas, Nevada, WrestleCon, you will see Rico there with myself, with Jim Powers, Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, and of course Slade and McCallie and Delirium. So we will all be there in
When's it gonna be in
Vegas.
Vegas?
The WrestleCon convention.
WrestleMania weekend.
I might be there.
Oh wow!
Oh, good. And then I'll
I mean,
probably see you 2 weeks in a row because the week after that I'm in Indianapolis.
Okay, I was making sure you're going to be there in Indy.
Yeah, they just confirmed me.
All right, I'll come see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll plug that one closer to the time.
I got a suplex for you.
I'm not bumping,
No more. Not anymore.
but anyone that comes out to see Rico, you will not be disappointed. He is that good of a guy.
Thank you, Flash.
That he is, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Flash, for
Hey,
being
thanks for
such a
having me.
I'm
great
going to
guest.
tell him. I
Yep.
got to tell him,
Yep.
everybody, just like I told Flash, my motto, everybody out there, what your mind can conceive, your heart can achieve. And that's with anything, not just pro wrestling and whatever you do in life. That's why I've been so blessed to do as much as I have done in my life. American Gladiators and jobs and charities and everything that I've done. That's my motto.
Yeah. Amen. Thank you for sharing that, Rico, as always, with our viewers. Thank you both for your time today. We thank all of you for tuning in. And again, make sure you lay the smack down on that subscribe button and so you don't miss a single episode of Styling. We'll see you next week.